Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics Last Non-Classics. This is episode number 903 and Doubleshot number 797. Two Batman-related trades. I say related because there's one technically not a Batman trade, but it is related to the franchise. Okay, first up it is Batman Sins of the Father. This is a trade that collects the 6-issue limited series released just last year, and this was a digital first comic. One of very few Batman's had over the years, but not many of them. This takes place, according to the narrative of the Snake, takes place between seasons 1 and 2 of the Batman Telltale series. Yeah, I've actually watched a walkthrough of this series. It's really good. And I believe my friend Tivy has now walked through the first season of the show. Yeah, and this continuity, yeah, it took a while for, and here's the thing about this continuity. Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, is not, a little chubby guy. No, he's pretty thin, and he's an old friend of Bruce Wayne's, which is quite interesting. Now, in the case of this particular miniseries, this is the introduction to only one character, Deadshot. Yep, and the look is loosely inspired from the Will Smith version. Yeah, it's loosely inspired by that and a mix of the Will Smith version and a little bit from the one from Arrow. Yeah, but the difference is Will Smith's version actually wore the mask, while Arrow's version never wore a mask. Yeah, because this takes place like not long after the events of season 1. We have it where we have, characters who, because, we have Wayne Enterprises version of bankruptcy, and the fact that Batman's war of crime can get a little more dangerous. And the one thing I find interesting, though, about this particular miniseries is that, at least in the KC universe, there's barely any mention of the Joker. I mean, we have Penguin, we have Two-Face, referencing him in here, Catwoman. Catwoman is not even referencing her at all, which is kind of weird. They do reference the events of the first season. Yeah. And apparently they give Deadshot a very odd backstory. It seems like he's sort of a semi-carbon copy of Bruce Wayne. Except here's the thing. Unlike the Waynes, Thomas and Martha Wayne were actually pretty decent people with the exception of what happened to Thomas Wayne. Deadshot's parents were despicable people. Apparently they're abusive to their own children. Why? No idea why. Oh yeah, and their son, the oldest one, Eddie, Floyd's older brother, is killed in an accident. Even though that apparently one of his parents did it and covered it up. Also, apparently it's shown in this backstory that they actually were taken to Arkham Asylum for treatment. And then they were released. Why? The miniseries never explained why. Yeah, that's something quite weird. I mean, yeah, Thomas Wayne was their psychiatrist. As for why he deemed them basically fit for normal, no idea. This, by far, was never explored in this miniseries. Oh, I almost forgot. This miniseries is written by Christos Gage. I think this is by far the only DC comic he's written because a lot of the time I've seen him writing on books, usually either writing some Spider-Man related book, or he is, he did do the writing for the ROM Space Knight series from IDW and, of course, Robin Backgrounds. That's really it, but mostly he's worked for Marvel. The artwork in here is done by Raffaele Encino, yeah, and they made out the Lawtons to be rich, which is something a little bit different from the actual regular Deadshot story, and also apparently Floyd actually not, being like gun-ho like you normally expect this. Yeah, there's no mention if he has any family left because his parents, and it shows he did kill his parents. Yeah, for some reason there's no mention of his daughter in here, and after he's arrested, it's implied he's offered a place on the Suicide Squad. Not surprised because he's heavily associated with that particular group since the 80s. Yeah, it's a good miniseries, pretty fun, but yeah, the biggest thing about this miniseries, debut of Deadshot. But the main story of this thing is Batman versus Deadshot. And apparently Batman is the one who coined the name Deadshot because of how good of a target, because of a good sniper shooter he is. Yeah, it's also in apparently Batman is actually knows how to use a gun, but he knows how to shoot it, but he chooses to kill. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool thing about this version of Batman. And of course, because they're having restitution to the victims of Thomas Wayne, there's like, okay, so even though they're gonna take a hit, but yeah, and apparently the board of directors were worried about their salaries. Yeah, so Lucius is like, okay, like because apparently Lucius knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Is like, okay, how about do guys this for the Batplane? That'd be interesting. Cool. That'd be interesting. Give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Really fun book. Next up is the end of an era for one particular writer's run in this particular book, and it's Batgirl, Volume 4, Strange Loop. Collecting issues 18 to 25. Yeah, these are the last issues written by Hope Larson. Yeah, but she's not the only writer on here. We also have Marguerite Scott, who actually takes over the book. She's actually the succeeding writer in the book, along with Paul Dini, Margie Bennett, and Sean Andres, with Samuel Pasurity in the use of the art. Samuel Pasurity, Scott Gouache, Mako John, Chris Walgoose, Jose Martin Jr., Tom Durek, Sean Pearsons, Ray McCarthy, Amelia Lacpaio, and Dan Perushin. Cover art is done by Joshua Middleton. Yeah, the thing about these particular stories, okay, the first few stories involve like the blizzard stuff. Yeah, apparently there's a blizzard in town, and apparently the reason, and here's the thing, apparently the weather service knew nothing about it at all, and the reason for that, their computers were hacked. Who hacked them? The Penguin's son. Yep. And the reason why he did it, just so he could get his father elected to Congress. Yeah, it's particularly very bizarre. Yeah, that wraps up a loose end with the Penguin. He goes up to jail, and he's not seeing the book again under this writer's run. Though he does show up under the current writer's run. Also, this first few issues gave Batgirl something I never knew she had, because I thought that she had one vehicle, which is a motorcycle. Apparently, she has a car. Yes, Batgirl has her own Batmobile. As for where the heck she got this thing, oh yeah, I should point out the opening issue just basically her taking on Harley Quinn. Yeah, it's a cool little one-shot issue. But yeah, I have to ask, where in the world did you get this Batmobile? I mean, I get the fact, yeah, she probably earned some money from, even though she's technically no longer in charge of Gordon Clean Energy, she still has this car. And of course, they do reference what happened in the Supergirl anime, which I do appreciate that. Yeah. But I gotta ask, where the heck did she get this car? Yeah, she just randomly has. Even when I was reading these issues, I'm like, okay, where the heck did you get this car? Also, since when is the mayor of Burnside accepting of a vigilante? Yeah, as far as I can tell, there's no explanation in the story for this at all. Like, when did this happen? Because, well, in the pages of Batman, we don't have the mayor of Gotham basically backing Batman. Oh yeah, there's a reason for that. They're all in the back pockets of gangsters. Yeah. The one I can think of is Mayor Hamilton Hill. Oh yeah, here is this is her Batmobile, which looks like a rare car and skis. Yeah. The Strange Loop thing, that's a quick little two-parter. Her saving a woman or child from her abusive husband, who apparently fired a laser gun at her and caused her to have a hallucination. Yeah, and this guy was in issue 25, which has several different writers on it. One of whom happened to be the writer who took over the book after Hope Larson left. I also gotta love this cover. Yeah, now I'm gonna give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. It's actually pretty good. Nothing really wrong with it. Excuse me. Final thoughts on Hope Larson's run. Boy, this one was a little weird, especially since it started off with a really not that good of a start with it. Yeah, the first arc is actually referencing here for the Strange Loop two-parter. Yeah. And the fact that the first arc is known as Beyond Burnside, which has her go to various different countries. And here's the thing: when this book was relaunched 3 years ago, they decided to give her a companion series. This one, Batgirl and Birds of Prey, and that book kind of references what happens in this book. Though I think that the Bensons did a better job writing Batgirl than Hope Larson did. Hope Larson does a decent job. I think the Bensons are better. That's just my opinion. Yeah. And have her travel in various different countries, driving one way. I mean, I kind of get how she has this money because of her company that she owns, Gordon Clean Energy. Yep. So she goes to China. She goes like all over Asia. And then eventually by the end of the arc, she goes back home to Burnside. She goes back home, and then later on she meets Penguin's son. Quite interesting concept. And I like the fact Hope Larson made Penguin a regular character in this book throughout her pretty much most of her run. Which the last writer who did that was Giovanni Valentine on the pages of Catwoman. Though her run was shorter than this. Her run was like a year, while Hope Larson's was like 2 years. Yeah. And then we have this arc where, yeah, there is a lot of things from this arc that are never explained. Like, where did Batgirl get her car? I get the fact she has winter gear. Fine. Because she's in Bat Family. It's not unexpected for her to have winter gear with her outfit. That's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, but yeah, there's another problem I have with this arc, which Penguin running for Congress. Why? It's particularly a little bizarre. Yeah, I think the reason why that Hope Larson did that particular story is because, well, her run was ending, so she wanted to wrap up a loose end associated with her run, which is the whole thing with Penguin's son and the Penguin being a regular character in the book. Yeah, as far as I can tell, unlike other writers who basically announced their leaving the book, this change comes completely out of nowhere. Yeah, we have Hope Larson's book, and then all of a sudden she just leaves. As far as I know, I didn't see any articles online saying that she was leaving the book, and the fact this book was changing writers. The book just changed on a whim. It's like the following issue. Like, right after 25 came out, we have a brand spanking new writer for absolutely no reason at all. Now, I don't think Hope Larson was a bad writer. It's just that, well, I thought that maybe that Hope Larson, like I said, is not a bad writer, but this is the only book I've ever read her writing on. I haven't read her in any other book at all. Now, when I initially heard that she was going to do this book, which, okay, a woman writing Batgirl, that's perfectly fine. I got no problem with that. As a matter of fact, that's kind of the weird thing about Batgirl for the past few years. Always written by a woman. Yep. Despite the fact the writer who preceded Gail Simone was a guy. Yes. So for the past 7 years, this book is written by a woman. Always women. I got personally no problem with that. I think that's a good idea. Yep. But why the writer change for? This honestly makes no sense. Like I said, there was no announcement about it. I didn't see anything in solicits about it. It's just, oh, we have a brand new writer. For some reason. Margaret Scott, who is a good writer, the only books I've read her on was Windblade, 201, and the one issue did for Green Arrow. And that's it. Yes. Sorry about that, I'm a little tired. Yeah. And also, since when is a politician for a comic book, like, since when do politicians openly support vigilantes like Batgirl? Yeah. Also, there's a Stan Lee issue I forgot to mention here, which has teamed with Commissioner Gordon to solve some case involving possibly her own version of Clayface. Yeah, it's a thing called Guck. And it may be her own version of Clayface, but who the heck knows? Yeah. Though I should point out, though, the new writer decides to get rid of this costume. Yes. Not long after the new writer starts his run, she gets rid of this costume. Yeah, I personally have never had a problem with this costume. It's a good looking costume, though it kind of feels like a jacket attached to pants. That's the only slight thing I have against it. Yeah, the new costume is really good. I love the new costume. The only thing I don't like about it is the mask. The mask is just too tiny. What's wrong with this cowl? Seriously, what's wrong with it? Nothing. Yeah. Mhm. But another problem I had with Hope Larson's run, it felt like half the time some of the stuff was very rushed and seemed like she didn't know what to do. Also, this is something I really would love to see at some point. That Barbara Gordon tells Alyssa, her best friend from the Yellow Small Run, that she is Batgirl. As far as I know, the only people outside of Bat Family who know she's Batgirl is Frankie, a character from the previous creator team's run. She apparently is the only character in this book who knows that she's Batgirl, despite the fact they could easily tell Alyssa this because she's Barbara Gordon's best friend, and she attended her wedding in issue 50 of the previous volume. Don't want her to know for some reason. It's one of the most dumbest things. As far as I know, there's no story reason why she can't. And yeah, you can have more than one person know that Barbara Gordon's Batgirl in this book that's out to the Bat family. Yep. Otherwise, though, that's really it for this particular review. I have no other videos planned for today. Tomorrow, I might have one comic corner planned and a review news episode of Avengers, okay? But these things for you. Bye.